Hello everyone, once again welcome to Starlight TV. My name is Faida Babale. So today I have a wonderful guest with me. His name is Dr. Danlami Arabs Rukujie. He is the president, Jewel Entrepreneurship and Business School. He was a medical doctor who later transitioned into being an entrepreneur and a politician. Thank you very much, sir, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm still a medical doctor.
Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you.
So, sir, can you tell us more about yourself? Who is Dr. Danlami Arabs Rukujie?
Well, when you spent about 5 decades going to 6 on earth and you're asked to say who you are.
Yes.
But basically I was born in Tangalang, in the local government of today. I grew up there, actually. The only thing that took me out of Tangalang was going to secondary school. So I went to Tangalang Primary School. Then got admission to Federal Government College as a result. So that's what took me out of my community for the first time. Studied medicine at the University of Jos. Worked briefly in the hospital, went to the Federal Ministry of Health, and decided to start running things on my own, set up a health consultancy outfit, public health consultancy outfit. Went to Ahmadu Bello University to do a master's in public health, finished the coursework, and then in the process I got, if you like, conscripted into public service. Came to work in Gombe as the executive chairman of Gombe State Water Corporation. Fortunately, at that time, we were able to complete the Gombe Regional Water Project that has been a big story for many years. From there, I worked briefly at the Federal Capital Territory Administration as the Secretary for Health and Human Services. Came back to Gombe and was Commissioner for Housing and Transport. I was Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency. Within this period, I still was involved in a few investments here and there. Then decided to formalize my entrepreneurship journey and went and enrolled and completed a master's in entrepreneurship and business development at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University. And that now gave birth to Jewel Entrepreneurship and Business School today. I'm currently a student, actually, and but we wish ASU can get us back to the classroom. I'm a student of Masters in Accounting and Finance at the Federal University Kashiri.
Okay.
Married, children, and like you said, get involved in politics, community work, faith-based work, and so on. So that's it.
Oh,
do
wow.
Quite a few things.
That's wonderful. So we just want to understand the transition from being a medical doctor to now an entrepreneur. Was it something that was planned, or you just found yourself in it? Or did you know all along that this was the path you were going, or it just happened?
Like I said, I grew up in the village. My father was a bricklayer, so he was self-employed. My mother was not the traditional housewife. When people say housewife these days, as if you're just sitting at home. My mom was an entrepreneur. She was into doing massage. She was rearing pigs. When she died, we eventually realized that she had quite a few heads of cattle. But for me, one of the events that has happened in my life, and sometimes I would keep wishing and I keep telling parents to watch children. If probably my parents had watched me, then I probably would have become a trader long ago. Now, my grandfather had a grinding machine, and at a certain age, we, his grandchildren and people who were living with him, took turns to go and run the grinding machine, the mill, for corn. And of course, when you do that kind of work, you get some change and so on. But my mother was a disciplinarian. My mother could beat. So in the small village, I had no way of spending whatever money I was getting from my grandfather's place when I went to work on the mill. After a while, I just went to the nearby market in Billeri, bought provisions, and decided that I was a trader. So I was in primary school, So after school, I would go, people at the small market square, if you like, some 2, 3 elderly men who had things they would spread on some polythene, and I would bring my own to my small carton, and I started selling. So with the benefit of hindsight, I thought that was when somebody have said, no, this one, that's not where it's going to go to. So how did I become a medical doctor? Nothing. I just admired the profession, and there wasn't much of guidance counseling. So in secondary school years, you know, you were made first 30, you are in science. Next 30, you are in arts. So the school has now started determining for you what you're going to do. So if you're a science student and you are probably well above average, what were the courses we were going to do? Medicine, engineering. So I went for medicine, and that was it. But even as a medical student, my colleagues would tell me that I was not cut for clinical practice. I was going to go into public health, and I said, why? But maybe it was my interest, the fact that I wouldn't want to see things going wrong. So I was more of a policy person. I was interested in the policies that were affecting the services. So why is the hospital run this way? Why are such things done like that? Those are the kind of questions in public health you want to answer. I left clinical practice out of challenge. After my service here, I was at the specialist hospital Bauchi in Ops and Gynae. And I remember vividly the night around 2 a.m. I was called to see a woman who was bleeding, 5 months pregnant. And they didn't have 1 naira that would enable me get gloves from the matron to examine her. So if you like, again, that he started looking at. So here was health, services, but poverty became a barrier. And I'd seen poverty at first light. I mean, growing up in the village in 70s, you knew that there was nothing like pipe-borne water today, that we have roads and so on. So the health services were basically dispensaries around, and it was a time that people, not every house had matches in the evening, so people would go to the other house to get coal. No, not matches, coal. Those that started light up and then get some hot coals to come and light their own fire. So I understand poverty, and as a medical doctor, I started seeing it again staring me at the face. It didn't move me away to say I was going to leave medicine. The other thing that moved me to say, look, go to public health was hospital management. There's a big gulf between the doctors who are working, if you like, with patients, and what determines the circumstances of their work. When budget is going to be made for a hospital, the doctors are not part of it. The nurses are not part of it. But these are the people that first hand should know what was required. Because there's no way a woman comes for antenatal, I don't measure her blood pressure, you don't weigh her, you don't take her weight. Basic things. I had to leave. Fortunately, I got NYSC President Award, so I was entitled to automatic employment in the Federal Public Service, and by the time I got there, very nice gentleman from Gombe, then Bauchi State, who was the DG, and he was so excited, oh, this is one of his own, so where are you going to work?
He asked you where you were going to work?
Yes. One thing I knew is that I didn't want to go back to the hospital. And he laughed. He said, well, if it was hospital, he would ask me to go back to Bauchi. So that's when I now moved into public health. I was in HIV and AIDS control program, the Federal Ministry of Health. And so moved in, worked with a few NGOs, and decided to set up my own consultancy firm. It's called Lafia Health Associates. And basically teaching people about health. Malaria. So what is malaria? How can you identify it? How do people get malaria? What are the predisposing? Typhoid. You know, these days that people have, I have malaria, typhoid. No, there's not. So basic things like this, teach people about diabetes, teach people about hypertension, teach people and it gave me a lot of, I think that was part of my life where I had a lot of pleasure because people could just look, oh, is that so? A child wakes up in the morning and the child says he's not feeling well. The mother says, okay, I'll go to work, or I'll come and take the child later to the hospital. By 11, the child is playing. And the parent will say the child didn't want to go to school. It's not true. But early symptoms of malaria, because it's a timely. So when parents know, they will understand, okay, no, it's not that this child is just playing around. So things are simple as that. So teaching people, and that made me begin to realize that, look, information is key. Sure. Whatever you want to do. If you want to break the chain of poverty, the cycle of poverty, people need to get informed. People need to get information. There are so many people who want to become employers of themselves, but they need to know what it means to get into it. People want to do business. So you ask people, what do you want to do? I want to become a businessman. I want to do this. You ask one or two questions, people say, oh, is that so? So that now led me to where I am today.
Yes.
To
so
say, okay.
Moving forward, like you've rightly said, I just wanted to ask, a young person who wants to start entrepreneurship, wants to go into entrepreneurship now, what do you think are the steps you think? Like a young person who doesn't have anything, does not have any connection, no money, nothing, how do you think that person can become an entrepreneur in this age?
You need to equip yourself. Fortunately, these days, you don't need to go to a library to read books. You don't need to go to school to learn certain things. A lot of young people have smartphones. So the first thing is, what's the drive? Okay. What do you want to do? What is the motivation? You must have a motivation. Like I tell people every day. I play active politics, but people ask me, why is it that even those that hurt you, you still accept them back? I tell people, I don't keep enemies. The only enemy I have in my life is poverty. So that's my own drive. I don't want to have a relationship with poverty. So I ask myself, how can I break that? Nobody who is earning salary in the Nigerian public service legitimately can break away from poverty, because salaries are very inadequate. In fact, the salary of anybody who is able to pay his bills becomes just an add-on. So it's the drive. Why? Okay, I've seen you can see a young person will say, my father and mother were school principals, and this is how they ended. Do I want to go through that path? There are no jobs. People will tell you that in the early 80s, I didn't meet it either. By the time you're coming back from school, you had a job, you had a car, you had a house. It's now history. You have to look for, you have to create your own job, you have to find your own house, you have to get your own car.
True.
But the opportunities are huge. So we now look at the motivation, then what are your interests? Of course, interests are not just what will determine it. These are some of the factors. What are the opportunities around? They're so huge also. You identify those ones. Capital is the last thing. Because if you say, oh, why not? I would have gone into business, but I don't have money. I said, fine. How much money do you need? You don't know. So you have to do that identification first before you come to the level of costing. But you must equip yourself, either on your own or discussing with people like us who will now be able to put you through. But the key thing is make up your mind. Make up your mind that this is what you want to do. And show you why do you want to do it. Like they say, you can take a horse to the river, but you cannot force it to drink. So if the person is saying, no, this is, I'm not going to be, I don't want, there's nothing you can do. Even if the person has tons of money that has been led by the parents or by relations or whatever. Yeah.
Because we've seen cases whereby people, they get loans, they collect money to start a business, but at the end, they practically don't do anything. Yeah, so it's because, are you saying they don't have a motivation behind that, or What do you think?
No, they started with looking for the money. I have come across people who, after retirement, use their retirement benefits to invest. So is money coming before the idea? You need to nurture the idea. You need to fine-tune the idea. You need to turn what is in your head onto a plan before you start. But if somebody says, oh no, I know somebody who has been into grains business for the last 20 years and has made some money. So they say, I'm going to start buying and selling maize. You don't know the storage. You don't know where the markets are. You don't have the timing. You don't know when to buy. Then you will lose. So I've seen people who collect loans, and because taking a little bit of that money to equip themselves either on their own or taking advantage of schools like Jewel Entrepreneurship and Business School to discuss. I've met a lot of people who come here and with an idea that they thought was the most fantastic idea. By the time we discuss and we look at the other issues around it, we say, oh, okay, I didn't think about that.
There's more to it.
There's more to it. You're looking at the market. What you're not going to produce anything for yourself. Whatever you're going to produce, it's for people. So where are the people? You have to do those identifications. And business is not philanthropy. You are going to it for the profit. So anything you do, no matter how much you enjoy it, but does not give you money and you cannot break even, is bad business. So there are quite a few factors into it. It's about learning, it's about information, it's about knowledge. So people need to be knowledgeable. If you don't have that knowledge,
that the youths have a chance in politics. Because nowadays youths are like, okay, the old people have messed up the country, they want to go into politics. So do you think they have a chance?
They have a chance. But you know, the youths, when you say youth, you are discussing various fruits in a basket. So if you have a basket of mango, oranges, pineapple, tomatoes, a basket of fruits, but which ones are good? Some are rotten, some are ripe, some are not yet ripe. So I want to focus to the youths who I can say are ready or can be made ready. Politics doesn't start in a day. And I tell people this. When I was in secondary school, we had National Rectangular students. I was involved with it. So we come home and we are doing students' activities and so. So for me, that was part of the nurturing ground. I was meeting people who are now in the university and could. So, but tell me now, how many of youths do you have that you can sit down and discuss meaningfully? So people need to know their rules. There are those who are just, okay, let me write and post this person. No, what is the ideology? What do you want to do? So the easiest time for you to actually be successful in politics now and active in politics is now. Information is wide. Social media is there. Communications is easier. But what is the quality of the youth that we have? It's sad, but then it's the environment. You have somebody who has a diploma, has an NCE, but engage him in just discussion, let's speak English. And the person cannot, so what am I going to do with that youth? And that's why you find a lot of youth being used as tools.
Yeah, sure.
Those are not the youth that are going to become my councillors, my member in the House of Assembly. No, people have to be good. It's unfortunate that these days academic performance is doesn't seem to be an important issue to youth. It's how I dress, the group there are basic things.
Some they think
you have to be sound. No, but that's the basic. If you are dull, forget it, don't get into politics. If you go into politics, you are dull, you are just going to be a yes sir, you just be following people and you cannot impact anything. But if you want to make an impact, don't play politics as a career. Be a man or a youth of yourself. Have something you're planning. And politics comes around. Politics for me, that's why I tell people that I'm not a politician. I'm involved in politics, because politics is not my primary vocation. It's secondary. So you cannot have some are just going to be cheerleaders.
Some are just followers.
Yes.
Okay. So, thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
We are so glad that you were able to take out from your time to speak to us today. So, we've heard it all. That
now, before you just close it, you're just starting this now. In the next 10 years, people say, "Oh, FIDA has become big." What's that lady, English lady's name? The American.
Oprah.
Oprah. It doesn't. This is how it starts. So
yes.
That's the nurturing. But other people, some people are just looking at the top. They are not looking at how it grows. So I wish you the best.
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a wrap from me here at Starlight TV. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos and stay tuned for more.